I moved into my new apartment at the end of September. It was a small place, very cheap, nothing fancy, but I was finally out on my own, and that was enough. The complex was older, brick buildings with steel staircases that echoed when anyone climbed them. But the neighbors were quiet, and the rent was unbeatable. The landlord, Mr. Halpern, was one of those guys who seemed permanently annoyed by your existence. He gave me the keys, mumbled something about garbage days and maintenance, and left me to it. I was just glad to finally have a door that locked and space that was mine. The first week went by fine. I unpacked, settled in, worked my shifts at the gas station, and spent nights watching movies or listening to music too loud through earbuds. I didn't notice anything strange, not at first. It all started with the maintenance guy. I saw him maybe 3 days after I moved in. Early morning, I was heading to work and saw him unlocking one of the utility closets by the stairs. He was tall, maybe 6'4", with gray hair pulled back into a ponytail and pale skin. He wore a jumpsuit with a stitched-on patch that just said Dawn. I nodded as I passed him. He didn't nod back, just stared. Not blankly either. I mean stared. Eyes fixed on me like he was trying to memorize my face. It was enough to make me look over my shoulder when I got to my car. Later that day, I asked Halpern who the guy was. He just grunted and said, "Maintenance. Doesn't like people, but he knows his stuff." That was it. That night, I thought I heard footsteps on the walkway outside my window. Slow, steady ones. Not a neighbor passing by. These stopped for long stretches like someone was standing just outside, listening. I peeked through the blinds, but nobody was there. A few days later, I was in the shower and heard a knock. I shut off the water and listened, but nothing happened. Maybe I imagined it, I thought. I finished my shower, and when I went to my living room, I found a note slipped under my door. No envelope, just a folded piece of yellow paper. Inside, in neat all caps, "We fix leaks from the inside." No signature. I checked the pipes, but everything looked fine. I thought maybe it was from the landlord. I texted Halpern. He replied an hour later. "Didn't leave anything." I brushed it off, thinking it was just kids playing pranks. But later that night I started hearing things. The metal sound of my doorknob turning, a faint creak of the kitchen cabinet. But every time I got up to check, nothing had moved. Nothing was out of place. Then one morning, I found a second note taped onto my bathroom mirror. "You shower too long, 7 minutes max." I stared at it for a long time, wondering if someone had gotten in. I started to doubt myself. Was I sleepwalking? Was this stress? I added extra locks that day. I woke up to see a shadow moving in my kitchen. Not the kind you imagine in the dark, the kind you feel before you see it. Tall. Wide. Like someone standing completely still. I held my breath. I didn't move. It slowly faded away. I told myself it was a trick of light, that it was nothing. I set up my phone to video record overnight, propped on the bookshelf, facing the front door and kitchen. I figured if someone was messing with me, I'd catch them. The next morning, the video was fine. At first. Nothing happened until around 3:12 a.m., when the screen flickered for half a second and a tall figure appeared in the frame. Barely visible, almost like it stepped out of the wall. It just stood there, watching the bedroom door. Then, frame by frame, it moved. Not walked, just appeared closer in each second, like something glitching forward. It stopped, right at the door to my room, and turned its head, looking right at the camera. Its face was gray and smooth like clay, and in the middle of its chest was a stitched patch that read Dawn. Then the video ended. I took the footage to the landlord that morning and showed him my phone. He stared at it, then looked at me and said, "That's impossible." I looked at him confused and I asked him why. He told me Don died in 2004, that he had slipped down the staircase doing repairs and broke his neck. They shut down that whole wing for months. But here's the thing, Halpern didn't seem surprised, just resigned, like he'd had this conversation before. I moved out that night, didn't wait for the lease to end, left my deposit, my furniture, everything. I had found a decent apartment far away from my old one, and everything seemed back to normal. But 2 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail with no return address. Inside was a single note, handwritten in sloppy penmanship. You can change the locks. You can leave the apartment, but I still have your key. Don.